host, Andy, the podcast done by two fans who survived the dark times of the 80s of Packers football and live to talk about. This podcast is dedicated to the greatest fans of all, Packer fans. So, Andy, it's been a weird week in Packerland. And I don't know about you, before we get to what you want to talk about and introduce yourself, isn't it weird not watching the Packers play this weekend? Wasn't it kind of weird? Or is it just me?
Well, luckily I was on vacation, John,
That's right.
in Houston. So I really, I probably would have watched the game anyway, but, with plane flights and everything else, when you're spending the money to be down there and enjoying the great state of Texas and Houston in particular, then my priority still would have been the Packers to watch the game at least.
Of course.
I got to watch a few of the games a little bit, but not all of them. But it was kind of weird. But to be quite honest, you kind of had to compartmentalize and put it out of your brain, and you're like, you just move on. There was a finality to the Detroit game. That it's basically that was it. That was a playoff game. It wasn't a playoff game, but it kind of was. And then you just kind of move on. So it is kind of weird not having the Packers in there. It's kind of weird not seeing. We'll get to this later, but not seeing somebody like Tom Brady winning. Actually, it's Tom Brady losing, which we like to talk about.
We'll get to that. I have something to talk about with that. So take it away, Andy.
Yeah, so welcome back again, Packers fans. Even though our beloved Packers did not make the NFC playoffs like we had talked about, hopefully everyone enjoyed watching some of those wildcard games on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Sorry, Vikings fans. We do have a few Vikings fans that listen to us. You still have Kirk Cousins as your starting quarterback. Enough said.
Hold on. I saw this, and whoever the author was, this cracks me up. He said, and this is the best description of Kirk Cousins anywhere. He said Kirk Cousins reminds him of a Costco hot dog.
Wow.
So if you ever, any of you people out there have been to Costco, right? You got a Costco membership, right, Andy?
I do.
Have you ever had one of their hot dogs?
Oh yeah, every time when we go there, they're really, really good. They're $1.50, and you get a soda.
Yeah,
and they're a foot long hot dog. So like John, they're not the normal it's a foot long. It's a bigger hot dog too on top of it. So with the condiments that they give, the relish, the mustard, and the ketchup, it's great. It's perfect.
So, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, Andy. You don't. Costco hot dog is like, you go there, like, see your relish or whatever, and it's a great lunch, right? But it just doesn't fill you for a meal, right? It kind of leaves you, empty after it. You have the hot dog, and you're like, it was good, but you're still hungry. So that's the way I look at Kirk Cousins. He's kind of like a hot dog, right? You eat the hot dog, and you're like, man, I'm still kind of hungry. And that's Viking fans. You're always going to be hungry. And you have Kirk Cousins as your quarterback because he's never going to fill you. And, with Kirk Cousins.
I hate you all so much.
You can't stand him. He just is a guy that's all stats. And, like I said, he's just like a Costco hot dog. Just, hey, it's fine, it's good, it fills you up, but only for so long, and then you're like, kind of got to move on. I don't want to be eating Costco hot dogs for the rest of my life. So anyway,
that is so true, John, because like I'll get the Costco hot dog, but I'll also get a slice of their larger pizza. The slice of their pizza is almost like two slices of pizza because the hot dog does not totally fill you up. So I guess that's a good analogy or whatever you want to say with funny. That. But that's hilarious. Yeah.
Take it away.
Yeah. So good evening, John.
Good evening, you, buddy.
Awesome job on Monday night's interview with. I think you were interviewing Michael Nielsen.
That is correct.
I think I pronounced that right.
Yes, you did.
He had, Michael had some really interesting insight into Packers history, the Packers organization, and some of the current and former Packer players, especially Brett Favre a little bit. So if anybody can check that out, that's I think that's listed as episode 11.
11, yes.
Yep.
And please check out Last Day at Lambeau. It's free. I have the link on our website, and then also Andy, you have to check out his trailer called Beyond Human Nature, and it's this true crime documentary about these workers who killed one of their coworkers, and they're not really sure now if the coworkers actually killed him or if this guy committed suicide. And it's this really cool true crime documentary that it will be coming out on all these different streaming channels like Apple TV and Roku and so on and so forth. So I have the trailer up on the website, on our own website. Please check it out.
And what was the name of that one again?
Beyond Human Nature.
Now, the reason I said that is because I listened to the full podcast on from Monday, and he kind of forgot to mention the name up until the end, so we're kind of plugging that even more. So it's kind of funny. He's like, wait a minute, I forgot the name. Yeah, to talk about what the name of it was. So
he's a really good director. He does an amazing job. We will have him back on the show along with some other guests, but he's an amazing person, and I'm glad he is friend of the show. So let's get right into it. Okay, so I listened to the end of the season press conference with LaFleur and Gutekunst. Nothing new LaFleur said. He always says the same things, right, Andy? We have to coach better. I have to be better. I have to play call better. Blah, 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 blah. And then he said something that was a little bit surprising. He said that he might give up play calling duties, and possibly Nathaniel Hackett could come back to help him with that. And then again, he talks about Aaron Rodgers again. He wants him back. What else he's going to say? So, Andy, do you have any thoughts on those press conferences? Anything you read maybe that it's the same, right? It's no different.
Yeah, I did want to mention just quickly, I found out about this today that Nathaniel Hackett is interviewing with the New York Jets.
Jets, yes.
And I guess he had coached with Saleh, their head coach, before. And was 2015, I believe. But so I think he's doing him a solid just to, give his butt a interview. I don't think he's actually going to get the job, but he is being interviewed for that position. So,
any quick thoughts? Thoughts?
I mean, quickly. Yeah, there are so many questions that need to be answered, or that just none of them aren't. None of them are. So that's kind of typical of a NFL press conference, isn't it? So when you listen to Goody and you listen to LaFleur, it's kind of the same old, blah, 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 blah. So John, if there was one person who I would like to get some straight answers from, it would be the Packers executive VP, director of football operations, who is who, John? Your favorite?
That would be Mark Murphy.
No, that would be Russ Ball.
No, Andrew Ball. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Russ Ball. So the Packers will soon be 14 million to about 16 million over the salary cap. The reason I say that is because I was listening to some talk show hosts on the radio, and I was listening to some podcasts, and some people said it was 14 million. Some said it was 16 million. So I just said it's somewhere in that range. Packer fans, just say 15 million, I guess, and average the two. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. So, So depending on where you get that information again, and again, we try to be as accurate as we possibly can, and we'll try not to talk too much about numbers, but we're way over the cap. So our team, the Green Bay Packers, is currently in what a lot of sports teams would call salary cap hell or purgatory. It's basically the Packers are in the bottom 5 in the entire league in cap flexibility. We're way over the cap. And so Russ and his finance team are going to have to do a lot of number crunching and make a lot of tough decisions and basically perform cap magic to field a competitive team next year for the Packers. So, I believe in Russ. I know you believe in Russ. You've talked about Russ Ball a little bit before in previous podcasts. I hadn't really talked about him too much. I mean, I know who he is, and he's kind of like the guy who makes it all work and makes it all fit financially for the Packers. But again, we believe in him, but the Packer fans better hope that Russ cooks up some cap dollars to spend. So we need Russ to cook. That's in reference to Russell Wilson. just to let you know, that was a play on words, John. So if Russ succeeds, he will truly be the Packers MVP in 2023. But he's going to have to do some major magic. So, and then again, I know you love Russ Ball and everything. Any response to that and I'd really like to interview him to see how he's going to get us out of this mess.
Wouldn't you love that? So just recently read an article about, and this is the problem the Packers keep doing. So they can restructure 5 different players: Jair, Aaron Jones, David Bakhtiari. They can trade Darnell Savage, and there was one other guy that could, but that doesn't matter, right, Andy? Because when you restructure, you keep pushing things down the road, right? And you just keep, it's like, again, we're dads, right? One thing we always tell our kids is like, do it now, get it over with, so you have time later to play your video games or to, go out with your girlfriend or to see a movie or whatever, right? Right, Andy? You tell them to do it now. Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Get your chores done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Packers are doing that. All they're doing is they're basically just saying, well, okay, I know you're supposed to get this money, but what we're going to do is we're going to give it to you later. Those players will never see that money because they'll cut them or they'll do something where they're. And the problem is, I see with it is, again, if you're going to go to Rodgers, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but I just want to bring this up really, really quickly. One of the things is, if you go to Rodgers and tell him, hey, can we slash 20 million off your 60 million or whatever he's getting? He knows he will never see that money. So it's kind of like, again, you're not helping things by doing that because, one, he's going to say no, first of all, because he is the franchise and everybody knows it, number one. Number two, I don't think we've overpaid players. I think it's just, you're just caught in this mess that everyone gets caught in when they have a premier quarterback. You have to pay them the money. So that was just really quickly. Any just quick thoughts on that, Andy? Because we'll talk.
So basically, overall, and not to sound like a manifesto or anything, but I profoundly, you like the wording there. I profoundly hope that the Packers organization takes a long, hard look into how the team can be successful next year. It cannot take the same approach to this offseason as it did the last. And we just talked about this before we went on.
Yeah.
That might actually not be the case. I may be doing a repeat. So I know that Packers Nation, and I'm just speaking for Packers Nation right now, Packers Nation doesn't need a repeat of 2022 in 2023. No. We talk about what happened. We'll talk about what happened in 2022 and how the season was doomed from the start later in the show. But we don't need a redo on that.
No, we don't.
And we don't need to hear the same stuff that we heard in the off season last season. So hopefully things change on that front. So, moving on, but so I had some very interesting news. So here we go. When Tom Brady lost to the Cowboys on Monday night, to the Cowboys on Monday night. It marked the first time since 2009 that Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers will not win a single game in the NFL playoffs. Very interesting, John.
Very interesting.
The other one was, and we talked about this yesterday, I believe. Colin Cowherd yesterday mentioned on his show, The Herd, that he had talked about Aaron Rodgers for the 38th straight day. And actually today it was the 39th. So he mentioned that on his show too. Yes, football fan. Yes, football fans. There's somebody out there that tracks this stuff. Very interesting and actually kind of sad. So 39 straight days is now the count that he's talked about Aaron Rodgers on his show. And then the last little very interesting news is Ben Johnson, the Detroit Lions' awesome offensive coordinator, has taken his name out of the running for all of the head coaching positions. And I'll just add this little tidbit in before I rattle off some more things. Basically, he got a big pay bump, and they talked about that today. This is not good news. No, it isn't good news for the Packers. He's an awesome play caller with big cojones. Yeah. Packers fans, anybody who watched the end of the game a few weeks ago against the Lions and saw that hook and ladder at the end of the game knows what I'm talking about. Awesome. And very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So that was really very interesting. So, Andy, I'm going to give you this rant, but make it quick.
It's totally optional though, John.
No, go ahead.
We don't have to
I
do
love your rant.
Okay.
I think
it's kind of this rah section, this rant where I'm getting, okay. So in the last week, I must have seen at least, and it's more than this now, at least 10 to 12 articles pop up, usually on my phone, whose sole purpose is to do the following: cause unnecessary speculation, make suggestive innuendo, dish out fabricated and total nonsense, and base opinions on total hearsay. It seems that some of them even try to create a multiverse not rooted in any sort of reality.
I like that.
Diehard Packers fans on Packers Blitz, John and I do not do that. We don't do that.
Nope.
We try to do a podcast that uses data, facts, and information that would be in the nonfiction section of your local library. And that's so 80s, isn't that, John? 1980s?
Well, you had to go to the library to do stuff.
Right. Nobody goes to the library anymore. Well, maybe, sorry, people that go to the library, but not as many people go to the library as I'm sure back in the 1980s.
Don't offend the library people.
Yeah, I know. A few podcasts ago, I pissed off all of Canada, and now I just pissed off.
Got mad at us.
Yeah.
Now the freaking library people are after us.
Yeah, to be quite honest, Jen, I don't think we piss off as much people as Colin Cowherd does. So, but that's kind of his thing. He's in the opinion business. So
right. So just really quickly, with my boy Tom Brady, I don't know. You had a little bit of a rant. I need my rant with Tom Brady rant. So this game against Dallas, he committed a dirty play because he's dirty, in my opinion. I don't know if you saw it. You can go on YouTube where he someone intercepted the ball from the Cowboys. He was running back, and here comes Tom Brady, and he does this slide like you do in soccer to tackle somebody. And he goes after the guy like that, which there was no penalty. He's not getting it fined. This is the second time this season he's committed, in my opinion, where he should be suspended at least one game, where against Atlanta, where he was sacked, where they called it unnecessary roughness, to the quarterback, whatever. And he kicked the Atlanta defensive tackle when he was down. Now, he was fined for that, $16,000. Personally, he should be fined more. He should be kicked out of the league, but that's my rant. And I will have my own rant on Tom Brady some other time. But just really quick, Andy, I just wanted to talk about, like we said, with all this innuendo and stuff.
Yeah.
With the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. Hey, look, retirement, return, move on. It's exhausting. Okay, we're right here, Packers Blitz. We're going to end it here and now. Rodgers needs to be all in. That means showing up at OTAs, working with the receivers, and willing to give the ball over to Jordan Love if his play totally declines. And when I mean totally declines, I'm talking about like Peyton Manning near the end of his career where he couldn't even throw an out. It was sad to see, right? And, again, if not, let's just move on and we'll start Love and just deal with it. And one thing people don't understand, again, I bring up Peyton Manning because I think Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers are kind of similar in a sense. Peyton Manning had a 14-13 postseason record as the Colts quarterback. And he played in 2 Super Bowls, only winning one. But then the Broncos won a Super Bowl in spite of him. So when all the stuff was going on, all these things with Peyton Manning and now with Rodgers, you just have to understand that either you got to go all in or you got to let him go. And yes, if he wins a Super Bowl, let's say he goes to the Raiders, which everyone's hot for the Raiders and Aaron Rodgers, and wins a Super Bowl, okay. It happens. Just, we just can't continue to have this innuendo and all these articles and everybody's talking about it no, we just got to need to move on. So anything else you wanted to add about that, Andy?
Yeah, I was just curious about that Tom Brady interception. I didn't get to see a whole lot of the game. I did see the horrible interception, the absolutely horrible interception that he had that he threw into the end zone. It was picked off. Was it that one? Was it a different interception?
No, it was a different one. You can see it you can see it on YouTube. Go to YouTube and it'll show like penalty of him. So he's going and he throws the ball, and actually it was an interception. I take that back. A player fumbled the ball, the receiver, I believe a running back, and the Dallas player he got it, and of course started running, and Tom Brady comes out of nowhere and like freaking kung fu kicks him kind of. What is going on?
Yeah, that's a dirty play. That, people's careers can be ended by that. Yeah, so, Tom Brady knows better.
He should know better, right? So anyway,
he's one of the faces of the league. So yeah, you don't play dirty like that.
No.
So I'll have to look at that, John.
Yeah, take a look at it.
No, I know the other one that you're talking about where he stomped on the guy. I remember witnessing that, firsthand as it happened. So yeah, that was totally dirty. That's like something Ndamukong Suh would be doing.
Yeah,
seriously.
Yeah, that jerk.
Exactly. Plus it's not too bright on his part to be stomping on some big defensive lineman that can come back and take him out.
Him around again.
I don't know. That does. Yeah. As far as the Aaron Rodgers thing, I'm going to talk a little bit about that when we're talking about why our season was doomed. So, and that's the next topic.
So, so that is our topic. Good segue. So, I want to start out. Again, our topic was the 2022 season doomed from the start. And this was a strange season, Andy. So, to say the least, obviously. So I was asked by friends and family what I thought about the upcoming season. And normally I say, playoff, Super Bowl, But this year I said, I don't know. And that's the first time in over 30 years that I've been watching Packer football that I was like, I have no idea. And that really, to me, was not a good sign. And I really was like, uh-oh, this could be really rough season. And there wasn't really anything that I saw to indicate that to me other than a feeling. It was just a gut feeling because our defense on paper looked like a Super Bowl defense. Our offense on paper looked like, hey, we can win some games with them. Don't worry. But, we brought people back and, we lost some coaches, but, who cares? Everybody loses coaches, whether they retire or move on or go to another team. But just the whole thing was, I don't know, it just didn't sit right with me. And that was just a gut feel. So, Andy, I asked you the question, was the 2022 Packers season doomed from the start?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
The 2022 season was doomed from the start. Yes, sirree, it was. It definitely was.
Yeah.
Our GM, Brian Gutekunst, did not bring in enough quality veteran free agents on offense to strengthen the wide receiver tight end group. A player like wide receiver Sammy Watkins, who cannot and could not stay healthy his entire career, is not a number one wide receiver.
Sammy.
No. Yeah. And he was actually cut by the Packers before the end of the season. He was picked up by Baltimore, but still
didn't do anything there.
He was not the answer. The Packers did not really have a number one or a number two wide receiver on the roster before the start of the season.
No.
Alan Lazard is a number 3 wide receiver at best. Randall Cobb is maybe a 4 or 5 wide receiver at best on the Packers roster. And sure, Goody drafted 3 rookie wide receivers, Watson, Dobbs, and Toure. However, that's drafting not for 2022. Typically, that's drafting for 2023 through 2026, and the duration of their rookie contracts. So, if Goody knows Rodgers, and he should by now, he knows that Aaron doesn't want to have to teach football and babysit a trio of rookie wide receivers. Rodgers wants veteran wide receivers who run the right routes, can get open and catch the damn ball.
You mean like DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to give up something for him. He's probably the top free agent on the market, isn't he? So, and then the tight end position, and we've talked about the wide receivers too, and we've talked about the tight end position was not addressed either. And again, a note to Goody: the 2020 third-round pick Josiah DeGuara is a bust. He's really good on special teams, but as far as it comes to the tight end play, he's a bust. So enough about Goody. So then our head coach Matt LaFleur should have more closely looked at his coaching staff, especially the coaches on defense. And we've talked about that with Joe Barry.
Yeah.
He needed to establish the team's identity on offense, which should be run the ball first. Right away in organized team activities, mini camps, and during preseason games. It was a bad decision not to play Rodgers in the preseason and get some game reps with the new receiving core.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah, so we had, Goody, bad, LaFleur, not good either. And then we're moving on to our future NFL football Hall of Famer, Aaron Charles Rodgers. He needed to be there. He needed to be more present and in the building during the offseason. He needed to bond and practice with his receivers on the practice fields of his beloved California Golden Bears during the offseason. So pull a Tom Brady and go to, your alma mater stadium and toss the ball around with these guys.
Right.
He needed to be at OTAs again, organized team activities. He needed to be at every single minicap, mandatory or not. He needed to play in the preseason and make himself game ready. He should have demanded all these things to ensure a successful season for himself and the Green Bay Packers. He should have did it, and he should have done it. And unfortunately, he didn't. So, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's
I
just
know, kind of long-winded, but basically we're talking about,
no, I got
you're talking about the GM, we're talking about the coach, and we're talking about
you. Yeah.
supposedly our
And
top player.
so
And
so what makes a team? You need a GM, a quarterback, and a coach, right? You
yep.
got to have all three. You can't have one of them or two of them. You have all three, because look back to all the greatest franchises ever in the NFL. It really comes down to they had a great coach, they had a great quarterback, and they had a great front office. Maybe not the GM wasn't the greatest, but the front office was, like, people who knew what was going on. And here's the thing that I forgot to bring up a little earlier. So, and it's in our last podcast, Michael and I talked about it, is we did this goofy thing where, and it failed with the Vikings, where they had the GM, the coach, and like the owner. They have an owner, but kind of the president, which is Mark Murphy. And what they did was, and they since then got rid of this, is they worked together and they, okay, I'll take this guy and take that guy, and that's what they've been doing lately. And it didn't work. So maybe that changed in the last draft, because again, like we talked in our further past episodes, this by far has been the best draft of Goody's since he's been with us. So you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen. You got to have a guy that says, okay, I'm drafting this guy because I believe in him. And okay, great. And, if the coach says, well, I want this guy, that guy, trust me, this guy's going to make the team better. That's what you have to do. And with Aaron Rodgers, he should see that and go, okay, they're making the team better. They're working together. And like you said, he needs to be the guy that says that. He needs to come up to LaFleur and go, I'm going to come in for OTAs. And LaFleur, if he says, we want to rest you, I don't know about this, he needs to be the one to say, no, I'm coming in. Like it or not, I'm showing up. I'm going to be here at 8 o'clock. I'm the first one on the field, right? But also, and I play devil's advocate, here's the thing. And I get what players say this, because we know the grind in the sense of going to work, coming home, going to work, right? Remember, he is going to turn 40 in, when is his birthday again?
December.
December. Okay.
Yeah, it's in early December.
So do you really want your almost 40-year-old quarterback coming in and being like, oh man, all right, I gotta throw here. No, you want him to come in and be like, okay, guys, let's go, tempo, let's go, right? You don't want him to come, and just kind of almost like pout out the sidelines. I really should be in Cabo than these freaking idiots. I don't, not that he would say that, but you know what I'm saying, Andy? I mean, it's just, do you want
yeah, I mean, he's been talking a lot about, winning his next MVP and awards and accolades.
Oh yeah.
None of that, and that was on, I think, the Pat McAfee show or something. But I've heard about that from several different sources. I'm like, really? You should be only worried about winning Super Bowls, buddy. Yeah. I mean, so all I'm saying is, if you are truly a champion and you want to be a champion again, he has only won one Super Bowl. Brett Favre has won one Super Bowl. Wouldn't it be nice to win another one, Aaron? And so how are you going to do that, Aaron? So you have to, it's like they've been talking about, I wasn't going to mention this, but they've been talking about this. I've heard this at least 2 or 3 times in the last few days. Like, so the definition of insanity, do you know what I'm getting at, John?
Yeah. He's doing the same thing, expecting different results.
Yeah. Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. Yeah. Right.
Now, I'm going to push back a little bit on you when he said, he's my boy, so you know where it's coming next. When he did say he can play at a high level, at MVP level, he broke up his conversation to say, like, look, I can do it. But then he said, hey, look, if I don't think we can do it as a team, and go all the way and win a Super Bowl. And he never said Super Bowl. I'm paraphrasing here, but his point was, 2, I can do it, which he should say that, and 2, look, I'm not going to do this if we're not all in, and I know we can go go all the way. So I think there was some comments, and especially his comments, can be misconstrued because I agree he can be selfish, and it's all about him sometimes. But,
okay. Well, then I apologize to Aaron if it was taken out of context. But some of the stuff that I had read,
I think he put
heard,
everything about himself. It's about me. It's about me, and everybody's going, "Oh, what a diva! Come on, man." And then if you listen to the whole thing, he's like, "Well, yeah, I gotta want to do it. I gotta want to be here. I gotta want to play at a high level." And when you kind of hear that, you're like, "Oh man, what a diva!" But then you're like, "Yeah, he has to because." Like I said, if he's pouting on the sidelines and just not into it, we're not going to win anything. But then he came back and listened to the whole thing. They have it broken down in different articles where he said, "No, hey, I'm not rebuilding," which he shouldn't. And hey, if we're going to do this, we got to go all the way and be all in. So, just some things, the food for thought. Again, he's my boy, so I'm always going to protect him. But I do think people take him as a selfish person, which sometimes I can see that. So,
well, they're all going to have, when they're that good, and Aaron is that good, you're going to have a little bit of an ego. So, but the way he's been going about his business and his career, he's got to adapt and change and be willing to meet some people halfway. And again, that's where you get the impression he's a diva, and we hope that's not the case. We don't know exactly what goes on behind the scenes either.
No, we don't.
He is if you listen to him, he is a very intelligent guy. But, again, I talk about this with my kids all the time. You can be book smart and then you can be, everyday kind of street smart. And there's a difference. There's a big difference. Yeah. So sometimes it seems like Aaron's intellectualness gets in the way, right? Yeah. He's almost too smart for his own good. So
that's like I said, and we talked about that in our past episodes, right, Andy? Stop outthinking the room. Why are you doing a toss to Alan Lazard when you have 2 running backs who can get you 1 yard? Okay, let's not. We're gonna go. We need to go on to next year. So,
topic number 2.
Topic number 2.
Another topic
in the season review here, and I forgot to say, this is like a season review show of 2022. But so here's some players that regressed according to Packers Wire in 2022. I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of stuff here, other than I'm just going to go quickly through them. And Andy, when I say the player's name, I want you to say, yes, he regressed. No, he didn't. Okay. So I just want to see if you think this is right. So first player.
Okay, yes, so we're taking both topics, how they regressed or maybe they improved. So we're joining this all. So this is 31 players, John, right? Well, we aren't going to go through all. We're just picking the highlights.
16. I'm just going to do 16 from the Packers Wire article.
Okay.
So, okay. So let's start with the first one. Adrian Emos. Yes or no, regressed?
Yes.
Okay.
He was number 1. I remember.
So anything you want to add to that? You had some numbers and kind of some things about it. Why do you think he regressed?
There's a lot of different reasons, but basically his rating went down a full 20 points, and that's a scale of 1 to 100. So that's a lot. He was actually the most of any Packers player. So it's going to be just tough. I just wanted to make a comment that it's going to be tough to justify re-signing him, because he is a soon-to-be free agent. So I don't know. Toward the end of the season, I thought he played pretty well. So it's easy to forget everything that happened before that. But according to Pro Football Focus and a lot of these rating tools that they use, Supposedly he's regressed the most. So.
Yeah. So let's go on to Preston Smith. Yes or no? Regressed?
Yes. Yes, he has.
And why do you say that? What are the main things?
Yeah, he's he's just, once we lost Rashawn Gary to injury, it didn't help him.
Huge.
So Rashawn Gary on the other side is such a great playmaker. And put a lot of pressure on the passer from the other side. So I think that's where he started to maybe regress a little bit as far as getting the pressure on, because then you roll some of the people toward him and try to, chip them or whatever, and have a couple other people, have another blocker over there for him exclusively, which he doesn't do well with. So, and again, losing Zadarius Smith in free agency to Minnesota didn't help either, because he was a heck of a player for us.
Yeah.
We couldn't afford to keep him, not with what he signed, and that's another topic for another time. But and then basically, he had lost the other Smith brother, his and one of his best friends, actually. That there's a reason they were called the Smith brothers, I believe. So
So moving on, Devondre Campbell.
Yep, regressed.
So I want to add something really quickly. So yes, he regressed, but he had such a great year. It's kind of like, how could he repeat it? Because his last year was just out of this world. And, so I'm going to say no, even though the numbers tell us yes. I'm going to say no, because one, he was injured. Two, he had such a great year. It's almost impossible to be that great 2 years in a row. So anyways, anything else?
Well, they did mention, John, that he missed a total of 11 tackles. 11.
Yeah, that's true.
So he did struggle against the run. So they had mentioned that. Yeah. And according to what they said, he missed 10.1% of his tackles overall. So, but he did not play up to the high standards that he had set in 2021.
No. Aaron Rodgers, we're going to skip. We already know that. We've already talked about it.
Yes, we do.
So one of the things, too, is with Eric Stokes. That was a shocker to me, because before he went down with an injury, he didn't look like himself. There had to have been something going on. So regressed, Andy, yes or no? I think I know.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Anything you want to add with that?
No, I was surprised with that one too, because I mean, he went down with injury really early in the year. So I mean, you really didn't have a full body of work with that either.
No.
So he was on the list, and he was probably in the top 3 or whatever. Most regressed players or whatever.
Right.
But the thing is, it's one of those things. You didn't have the full report card on him, so that's the reason I didn't bring him. I wasn't going to talk about him, but it was kind of surprising. So I think he's a really good player, actually.
Yeah. So we won't talk about Darnell Savage, because he's probably going to be gone. I want to talk about Elton Jenkins, though, because
just gave him a big contract.
I mean, they gave him a big contract, and he didn't really. Yeah, he regressed, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he got blown up a couple times in that last game against the Lions right at the goal line. So he's now the second highest paid guard in the NFL, by the way. And he did sign an extension for 4 years, $68 million. So, but
and the
organization values him, I guess, if they're willing to pay him that much.
Yeah, and the thing is, the last guy I want to talk about, there's guys on here like Runyon and Rochelle Douglas and AJ Dillon, Rashawn Gary. That's not fair. I think that
Kenny Clark.
But Kenny Clark, what happened to him? I mean, that was crazy. He did not look like himself at all. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he admitted it himself. He was very up and down, up and down, up and down, kind of like the Packers were on defense, especially, and the team was. So he was kind of a microcosm of how the team was the entire year. So And so we're going to have to improve our defensive line, and it needs to be a priority. A few years back when Mostert ran all over us when we were playing the San Francisco in the playoffs, they really haven't addressed that yet still. And so our defense cannot stop the run. And our defense also has a major issues with sacking the quarterback as well. So we were one of the worst teams in the league with that.
No pressure against Jared Goff in that game.
Right. So, and Kenny Clark is, one of the people to blame a little bit. Again, you don't want to leave it all on his shoulders, but there were some major regression, and a lot of veterans had regressed significantly, which are disturbing trends. Multiple starters on both sides of the ball regressed, and then 11 out of the 16 players that they mentioned that had regressed were on the defensive side of the ball, which kind of makes sense. So, it's just it wasn't good. Looking at that article and then looking at some of the big name players that should have been stepping up for us weren't. So, and again, it's a scale of 0 to 100, just to let everybody know. And typically 90 to 100, that's top level, top tier player, all pros, pro bowlers, players of the week. And the score is given on each play, typically in the -2 to +2 range. And the grades are on each facet of the player's game on a scale, again, of 0 to 100. And when you go through that list, and you guys listening to us, guys, women, everybody, aliens, whatever,
library people,
exactly, people in Canada, everywhere, people around the world that are listening to us, and then I just lost my train of thought. You can look at the article. So there's an article from Packers where we use them a lot. If you want more detail, go for it. But it is there is a reason we were 8 and 9 this year, and that's in a nutshell. That's pretty much when you look at that list again. So, but the players have to be held accountable. Ultimately, the coaching staff needs to be overhauled. I will mention these things. New ideas, concepts, techniques need to be implemented. Matt LaFleur needs to look at everything and everybody. Brian Gutekunst, Goody needs to do the same. We need to make the necessary changes, as I pounded the table. Or if we don't make those necessary changes, we're gonna lose again. It's gonna be just like this year. So we need to do things to improve the team, get better, grow, and not regress.
So let's we're gonna do just one topic. We're gonna kind of speed this up. Hate to do this to you, Andy, but we're gonna kind of speed this up because one of the things is there's not really a lot of players on this list. And two,
they had the 15
it's the same old players. But Andy,
15
tell us about
people,
the players and we're doing this positive, who did significant improvement. Yay!
Well, the special player that they talked about again, and we've talked about him, was Keyshawn Nixon. And his 2021 grade was not available because he wasn't on special teams, even though he was with the Las Vegas Raiders. And he was with the Packers' new special teams coach, Rich Bisaccia. He was not utilized at all. So there wasn't any grade for 2021. But for 2022, now remember, it's 0 to 100. He was graded at 92.7. So basically, Nixon was arguably the NFL's most dangerous kickoff returner. He had 5 returns of at least 50 yards. Keyshawn came out of nowhere to earn the best kickoff return grade in the NFL, the best. He did not make the Pro Bowl for some reason. We talked about that, John, yesterday, just talking a little bit, but that's unbelievable. So anyway, the special teams, a lot of the players on that list of 15 that Packers Wire talked about of the most improved players, a lot of them were special teams again. And we talked about Rudy Ford. I can mention him if you want.
Rudy. Yeah, just really quickly talk about Rudy.
Yeah, he had the third best overall grade on defense, and he was also had the second best coverage grade. And he will be a free agent in March. And so I would guess that's one of the players that they should really think about resigning. Please, Goody. Yeah. And he's one of the few consistent playmakers that we had on defense.
Yeah.
The other player, since you wanted me to pick some of these, I'm gonna pick Mason Crosby. He had the highest grade increase, and so he did an awesome job this year. He has lost a little bit of leg strength, but he did increase his field goal percentage from 72.2% to 86.2% this year. So quite an increase in his accuracy. He was only 1 of 4 from 50 yards. He was 7 of 8 from 50 yards plus last, not this past season, but the season before. So in 2021. So he did a great job overall with his efficiency, but his leg seems starting to go a little bit. He's having problems with his kickoffs too. And that was evident from that. So he is the all-time Packers leader in games played that we talked about. He is a free agent in the offseason. I did want to mention just a few days ago, they caught the reporters actually talked to him, and he said he made a declaration at the press conference that he is not hanging up his cleats and he has no plans to retire. So just to let you know. So
there you go.
Hopefully he'll be back with the Packers, but again, you have to be able to afford him and afford to pay him. So so we'll see about that. Anybody else you want me to bring up? I can bring up.
No, other than we already know Jair Alexander. I mean, he's supposed to be the guy anyway. So I don't think whether he's improved, he should improve, right? Because he's our guy. He's the highest paid corner in the NFL as of right now.
And he was the only one named to the Pro Bowl. The only Packer this year. So I'm glad you brought him up. So of course he did. He even improved over last year, and he didn't play much last year. He only played in 2021. He only played 4 games. So he did at least was present, and he played and he played well when we needed him to, for the most part. And so, great job by him. So there is some hope for the Packers in 2023. And there is still a lot of evaluation to be done and tough decisions to be made by the front office and Brian Gutekunst. And so let's hope, Packers fans, that the correct decisions are made to improve the Packers roster and help the Packers to get back to another Super Bowl.
Yeah. So, well said. So
that was a mouthful.
We look forward to dropping what I'm going to call some mini-sodes, because there's going to be, like Andy said, there's going to be some crazy stuff happening here the next few months about the 2023 NFL draft. Also, like I said, Packer future players. So we have a lot of different shows that we're going to drop and put out there. Maybe not as long as the season review show like we're doing right now, but just to kind of keep, not only Andy and I going on the podcast, but also we want to, share this with all you. And again, when you're out there listening to us, tell your friends, hit subscribe, because the more we have of you great listeners, the more we can do some great live streams. And, again, you already know we're a hometown small podcast, and we want to grow with you fans because we love you all. So, Andy, what else do you have for us?
Yeah, well said, John. I know this is running kind of over what we normally do,
That's
but
all right.
I mean, if I had a wish for 2023, what I'd like to happen is I'd actually like to do some grading of the specific units, the special teams, you know, the offense, the defense, maybe some of the coaches, maybe do a team grade or whatnot. Maybe we can do that on another podcast as well. I'm a former teacher, so it's kind of one of those things that I've got some ideas on that, and we'll have maybe a little bit of data to substantiate that. I guess is the right word. So but I did want to thank Seattle for getting beat by 2 to 3 touchdowns. That's like we said would happen on the previous podcast. Pete Carroll, we still hate you.
Yes.
And I wanted to thank Minnesota. Thank you, Minnesota, for losing at home to the New York Giants. John and I predicted that too.
Yes, we did.
It just shows everybody
I hate you all so much.
It just shows everybody how bad the NFC North really was this year.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
You know, again, Minnesota had a great season. Don't mean to take away from them. I think
they did.
What were they? 13-4? 13-4? Just like we were the previous year. So yeah, and they won the division. Congratulations, great job on winning the NFC North. But you can't win a playoff game. So especially with Kirk Cousins.
Costco hot dog. Just remember that when you look at Kirk Cousins.
And thank you, Dallas, the Cowboys, for eliminating Tom Brady.
Yay!
Now I don't have to listen to all of the football insiders saying how he's the GOAT and the Bucs are now the team to beat in the NFC. How about them Cowboys?
So good for the Cowboys.
So John and I will keep all of you, all the listeners, all of you posted about any significant happenings regarding your beloved Packers in the upcoming weeks. John already talked a little bit about some of the future podcasts we may do, and again, thank you all for your support, and thank you, John, for all your support too.
Yes, thank you, Andy. I mean, it's so fun to do it with my good friend that I've known so long to do this show and continue to do it. Now, fans, we do have a Gmail account or an email account, whatever. PackersBlitz80@gmail.com. Please tell us what you want us to talk about. Also, hey, Minnesota fans, Lion fans, Brady fans, hey, tell me why we're wrong. Because we love to read your emails. You're more willing to say anything you would like, but keep it classy, San Diego. We don't want to get too out there with certain things. And we're on YouTube. Eventually, Andy and I will see our beautiful faces and we'll be able to do that. But as of right now,
we're gonna need some makeup people, John.
Yeah, we definitely need makeup people. We need a lot of makeup.
Yeah, we need a lot of makeup.
Anyway, we love you, Packer fans. This is a long episode, I know, but it's year in review, and we will see you hopefully soon. And we're excited to move forward here in 2023. All right, Andy. See you, buddy. Take care.
See you, buddy.